Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks, where today I feel like I owe everyone an apology for how dumb I am. I started the last video. For those of you that haven't checked it out, maybe worth going and giving a watch. I started off the last video with like a 2-minute rant about how somehow the replay viewer was broken. It's legacy keys. It's legacy keys. That's all it is. You just hold Alt and then the plus button, and you can speed up or slow down the game as much as you want. It's just really, really fine-tuned controls for game speed. Welcome back, everyone, and I sure hope you're having a fantastic day. I was very excited when I saw this replay come in, because it is a flooded game of Rosetta, which is super, super cool for obvious reasons. Rosetta is a fan-favorite map, but of course, going to be played a little bit differently today. We're spawning here as our blue team leader, as an Armada commander, and under the sea. Where will he be? It's gonna be, of course, none other than Ufos. Yeah. Ufos the Great, Ufos the Terrible. Did I actually mute the game? Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay. I did not mute the game. It was close. I did mute the game. There's too many buttons. There's too many buttons. We're 2 for 2 for bizarre games of beyond all reason. Technical difficulties aside, Ufos, our blue team leader, at 37 open skill and gonna be spawning in the backline, going for some Armada ships. Do we have any Legion players here? That's what I'm kind of scanning for right now. I don't actually see any for the blue team. Okay. Blue team with absolutely 0 Legion Navy. Spawning on the other side here is our red team leader, and also going to be playing his core. It's ought to be the 39 open skill player. Spawning on the southern side here and going to be playing with some good old-fashioned Cortex. Now, this was a little bit of an older replay, so it might also be that there wasn't a Legion yet. Hold on, no, my thing is saying there should be 1 Legion commander. Are we? Huh. It's saying that Jay Retief should be a Legion commander. I'm not sure why it's saying that, as we don't have Legion Navy here today. A little bit of a bummer. Obviously, Legion Navy just came out recently, but maybe this will be a good refresher, right? This will freshen up everybody's minds about exactly how the 2 other factions do play their Navy, and maybe that'll be some useful info for you. But either way, should be a lot of fun to check out Boat's version of Rosetta. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a matchup that we just never ever get a chance to see. Old Navy is not a super popular game mode, but Rosetta kind of puts a fun twist on it, right? Because there's these 10 metal per second metal extractors in the middle of the map here for each of these teams. And obviously 10 metal per second is huge when you're playing as a naval commander. Most navies kind of are balanced around having very low resources, so you get a new boat very, very infrequently. The high cost of boats and the usually low metal resource count for most navy players typically means that you're kind of fighting these like very expensive, very unfortunate to lose, very difficult to mass produce armies or navies. It means that when you kind of turn that on its head and all of a sudden you have hundreds and hundreds of metal and dozens of ships, suddenly things can become very, very chaotic. It's a space that Armada is meant to take advantage of. Armada with a little bit more maneuverability, supposedly with a little more flexibility in their ships, although I would argue the flexibility of being able to fire all of your guns at any direction, that's pretty flexible. Cortex frigates with their triplicate mounted guns, firing away those medium impulse shells, do not really suffer from retreating, actually. In fact, they benefit a lot from retreating, because as you can see, this one can fire backwards and hit the Lavender Commander's forces, whereas the Lavender Commander can't fire these forward with more force and hit the Pink Commander's forces. A little bit of a checkmate right there, though, is Lavender here. That's going to be J Retief. J Retief? Junior Etif? Our Lavender Commander here. Forces the frigates forward, doesn't actually get the kill on it, so that's really nice micro right there from our Pink Commander, Smite, who is going for quite a lot of build power in the backline, actually. Quite a lot more build power than we typically see, but again, these commanders are working with quite a lot more metal than normally they would have access to. Oh, we need to get those mexes. Well, the build power is actually kind of nice to target down here too, though. Yeah, okay, actually, I don't mind that at all. Laboratory, not the prime target, ooh, but shutting down those submarines is super, super expensive. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna fire away at the constructor boat over here as well. It should only take 4 shots in order to kill that. We're not really properly positioned, but that's okay. When it comes out of the right torpedo tube, it doesn't hit it, but when it comes out of the left, it will. There we are. Okay, well, there's a talk about a checkmate. All of a sudden, the Pink Commander has literally nothing to defend against the submarine that's lurking in the backline. Do we have a destroyer? Do we have any more submarines? There's just literally nothing to stop this thing from going on a rampage, and for whatever reason, it isn't. We must have really been expecting to see quite a lot more coming out here, but there just isn't anything for the Pink Commander in order to deal with this. Yeah, Wally Terrier going to be... Oh, that's some interesting graphic shift right there as we get the space and then the mirror of the match. Okay, interesting. Wally Terrier in such a rough spot. Lab goes down here. Mechs will not be targeted down. That's kind of a bummer, actually. That probably should have been the priority here. Means the Wally Terrier will have been getting quite a little bit of resources out of all this in the meantime. Submarine firing away, though, is chipping down that commander's HP pretty nicely. Now down to 52, 53% HP. And, of course, Wally Terrier is effectively out of the game for a little while. Needs to rebuild the laboratory, but that's going to take a minute. Meanwhile, the destroyer is pushing forward here for powder and light green. Powder blue and light green. Going to be sweeping away a whole bunch of these metal extractors. One of those things that we can see out of our mod, or rather out of Legion really quickly nowadays, is the fact that their frigates can just kill these mexes. You don't have to go all the way up to destroyers. Like, for instance, this army would be able to kill mexes if it were Legion. It's very, very interesting. Kind of shakes up a big portion of the way that the game is balanced. Certainly makes various engagements much more different than they once were. We get into the main base here of the Pink Commander, but we didn't really focus down anything powerful. The E-Converter should have been an obvious target. The build power could have been an obvious target. None of those things happened. We were too focused on the Maroon Destroyer here, who gave its life to save Smites, who will now get a res sub out and will easily and definitely, with a lot of confidence, resurrect all these boats. There's no reason why we shouldn't just rezzle these boats right here. You use the metal to buy some res subs, and then you use the res subs to buy your army back with energy. It's a really wonderful system because you can always use those res subs later on into the match. You want to be super efficient about them. Even more so than res bots, you have to be so careful not to lose these. Love the play right here from the Red Commander, too. Looks like we're basically just giving full control of the front line here to the Red Commander. All the mexes have been claimed. We even have some build power set up on the front here, just so we have some way of repairing these boats. Look at that. Super far forward con right here. Yeah, I don't think that's meant to be this far forward. I wouldn't mind seeing another turret up, though. You can sort of daisy chain these. You build one turret here, use it to reclaim this turret, and sort of chain them forward to add a lot of build power, a lot of repair, a lot of extra HP sustain into this army that's already balanced around having high HP. You add even more to it, and things get absolutely crazy. Yeah, nice micro, though, from the Red Commander. Doing fabulously here. 3 versus 1. Purple Commander loses the destroyer right there. Green decides it's time to pull the trigger way over. Commits, though, not expecting the orange army to come in from all sides as well. And just like that, the Green Navy is now cut down, basically apart. Yeah, there's nothing here to stop the Tan Navy. Oh, yeah, okay. Time for a little self-D action. Yeah, no better name does think better of it. Wanted to risk it all, but the timing just wasn't quite right there. Doesn't actually manage to get the self-D off in time. Yeah, we are really thinking about it, though. Yeah, if you can do it, if you can blow up this Navy, you can see that's 4,000 metal worth of Navy units. You can kill most of that with a self-D from a commander, especially with shallow-ish water like we have here. If you can land that connection, it's definitely well worth the cost of the corpse of the commander, the 1,200 or so metal that you get out of it. A dominative presence over here on the southern side, though. It kind of really goes to show just how much extra metal really means in the Navy theater here, is now the red, orange, and tan commanders have an overwhelming naval force. A combined total of just shy of 12,000 metal versus the blue and green commander with a combined total of 9,000. So about a 25% advantage is ginormous. Oh, no better name. Oh, he's going for it. All right, boom goes no better name. Takes out about 6 of those destroyers. Not bad. Gets the money's worth and definitely helps cut a lot of this down. Oh, he is going down too. Down goes the purple commander. No value on that commander explosion except for killing his own units, which is just brutal. Green commander coming out here as well, but we have the res subs. The red commander has all the metal in the world. We could just go for T2. That was a juicy explosion right there. Oh, that might be a game-winning explosion. That commander exploded and took out just about the entire Navy right there in red. All of a sudden, all we've got is a handful of frigates going up against a massive army of destroyers, which will be good enough, of course, to shut down those res subs. They have the depth charges, so they can clear all those out, and suddenly all this metal belongs back to the blue team. Did we go T2 with any of that? We have the T2 mexes from a T2 con that was handed out here, so that is quite nice. At the very least, that eco-scaling is happening in the backline. No such eco-scaling here for the blue team. They managed to sweep away the red commander here as well. That's actually really, really nice. Wow. One fatal explosion, and that's really all it takes. All of a sudden, thousands of metal flowing back here into the blue team's greedy, sopping wet pockets. There's the T2 shipyard. Res Sub's having a feast out here, enjoying a banquet of metal. The Green Commander likewise also building a whole bunch of units. Honestly, this is kind of... There's two methods of thought, right? You can either go for a T2 scale super quick, or you can, of course, go ahead and go for a whole bunch of T1 army. Now is the time that would benefit most to just have a big T1 army. If you can get enough of those boats out quickly enough, basically just mass-producing frigates, you can swarm the other side before T2 comes up. But then again, the blue commanders, they didn't see the T2 transition here, right? So they didn't know that there was a T2 on the way. They probably should have suspected at this point after that battle and how long reclaiming was happening over here from all these ships. But they didn't confirm it, right? And that's sort of the checkbox that was left unchecked. And now it means the blue commander doesn't really know that they're going to be fighting T2 here. At least not for a second. T2 is well underway, though. We do have the Despot battleship coming up and running. We need to resolve our energy crisis ever so slightly. We're actually having a little bit of a build power stall here as well, but more and more title gens, never a bad idea. Oftentimes, the best practice is to build 2 or 3 of these Pathfinders for 200 metal. They have tons of build power. Means that they can oftentimes be used to scale your energy quite effectively, especially on high tidal speed maps. 20 and above tidal speed maps, certainly well worth scaling with that tidal speed because it's so consistent. Super easy to build E-conversion off of. Couple of ducks making it through. These are definitely scary here for the red team. The duck represents a technological shift akin to switching to high carbon steels from the Stone Age. It's a degree of power that's unlike much else in Beyond All Reason. Maybe the shift of T1 to T3. That's probably comparable to the shift from T1 Navy to Ducks. Any Navy to Ducks, really. They are the ultimate, the pinnacle of naval combat. They're not even a boat. Destroyers firing away into the distance here, but that battleship is going to start leaking value out of the blue commander. As every one of those shots fires off into the distance, it's just going to be easier and easier to kill this Navy as they're chipped down lower and lower and lower. Green bomber's headed across the field here. Okay, hey, that's a nice connection right there for at least that one bomber. Does manage to find a good mark. Oh, another one falls it into the backline here. Pops all the E-converters for Dragonfire AMT. We were overbuilt on the E-converters, but taking all of them out means that no E-conversion is happening. Hey, follow-up bomber 2 takes out a bunch more E-converters. Chain reacting into the title gens is fabulous as well. Oh, coming back around here. Oh no, E-converters right next to the T2 lab. Boom goes the T2 lab. Probably about 1,500 metal right down the drain right there for Big Papa, the 59th. Scuttles also making an appearance. Oh, beautifully done right here. Commander's resistant to Scuttles, otherwise I think they'd one-shot them. But they do manage to blow up the metal extractor and all the static defenses over here as well, or a whole bunch of them anyway, so that weakens up this position. It also, of course, means that everyone and their mother is going to be horrified of what lurks in the deep. 1 or 2 Scuttles can essentially level a Navy. T1 or T2, doesn't matter. Yeah, this blue Navy is doing quite nice. Where was that Despot at? Oh, okay, it's making progress down on the southern side. Whole handful of Maelstroms have been set up here, the Fast Raider skirmisher boats. They are decent against T1, kind of bad against T2. Their main benefit is that they're relatively cheap compared to anything else, and they have high enough speed that they can get into the battle quite quickly here. You can see their lightning also chain reacts against big navies that are bundled up like this, so especially good against T1, because T1 does tend to clump up really badly like that. But you can see their damage isn't spectacular, and especially when they're clumped up like this together, they don't really have the room to fire like they need it. But it might just be enough here, doing a bunch of damage and distracting these boats, and more importantly than not, sweeping away all of the support here for these Despots, for the blue commander to sweep in and steal the kill. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There's several thousand metal worth of dead ships lying on the floor right here. He who manages to reclaim those boats and turn them into battleships, or maybe even a capital ship, is going to be the one to take the victory. Wally Terrier, the pink commander, in a bunch of trouble right here, does go down after walking all the way across and into the geothermal right now of the Seafoam Green commander. A bold play, Mr. Wally Terrier. Mr. or Mrs. Res Sub here, gobbling up half of that 10,000, 11,000-ish stack of metal. Oh, we got another sneaky scuttle looking for another connection underwater here. And again, scuttles, I mean, they can only really be dealt with. They can only really be shot by the destroyers, right? Anything with the depth charge launcher. So it means the big bundles of frigates are especially prone to thermonuclear scuttling. Torpedo bombers out now as well here from the air player for the blue team. I will say, doing a fantastic job of getting into air and maintaining that presence. Super annoying to do that in a Navy match because you are effectively unprotected. But the blue team as a whole doing a fabulous job of just making sure that that isn't the case, that none of these boats do leak through, that the air player has the stability to actually protect them from the air. Oh, do we take it? Yeah, we sure do. There we go. Scuttle just turns all that to atomized water and sand. And just like that, the entire, well, about half the Navy here of the Yellow Commander, at least all the T1 of the Yellow Commander's Navy, does go down. Robothor loses it all. Okay. We're rebuilding our forces over here on the southern side. Some Buccaneers were sent out so these can defend all the resurrection here. But look at this. How cheeky is that? Yeah, Blue Commander pulling the forces around the little island, doing the exact same maneuver twice in a row. And you know what they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and you're probably playing Armada, because that's kind of the idea when you're playing with these Armada ships. Again, a little more maneuverable, a little more speed. And this is exactly the kind of broadsided engagement that you're hoping to look for. Beautifully done right there. Cutting across the Red Navy, sawing apart these ships, making excellent use of those dreadnoughts and their heavy forward-facing guns. And then, of course, distributing that flanking damage coming out from the Paladins and the Corsair destroyers and cruisers. Now, it's really important that we reclaim all this. We do have the Pathfinder out here, so that's quite, or the Voyager, rather, reclaiming a bunch of this metal, but we need like 5 or 6 res subs just to get in here and reclaim all this from the front back. Denying as much of that metal is as important as reclaiming it yourself. No geothermal claimed over here, a little bit sloppy on the terms of an air player. That capital ship has 0 chance of escaping through here. What? There's an analogy to be made here about the size of this hole that this battleship, capital ship is trying to fit through, and I mean, you know, there's a lesson to be learned here for all of us. Dragonfire AMT, certainly one to learn it very shortly. This thing's gonna have to back up and go through the rear entrance, I suppose. Or rear exit, that's probably more appropriate. Lavender Commander goes down over here in the midsection of the map. That does kind of expose, actually, Cyan, who's been holding this 40 metal per second metal extractor, quite greedily, of course. Has the anti-nuke up and running, as probably is well worth the precaution. We have double shields here as well. You know what I even wouldn't mind seeing at this point would be a LRPC. One of the very few things that can kind of contest capital ships. Those LRPCs are super, super nice. Why didn't we reclaim all this? It feels like the Blue Commander is making all the right strategic moves, but is ignoring the one key thing in order to cement the victory here, and that's just getting a bunch of res subs underneath all this. Did we eat the T1 lab? Is that what it is? Oh, yeah. When you get this late into the game, you just gotta throw down a T1 lab. It's so expensive, but it is 100% worth it. Battleships now making their way through here. They found the weak link in the blue army, and they are going to start firing away. They're going to pop all those tidal generators, and torpedo bombers are nice and all, but they've done so much damage. These destroyers, that is. That's the Lavender Commander, kind of taken out of production for a little long while. There we go. Torpedo bombs away. Battleships do go down. It's a lot of reclaim available, so that's nice, but hard to deny that that giant opening right there is super, super awkward. Green has gone up to T2 and is getting anti-nuke boats up and running, but it's kind of a... It's a difficult fight here for the Blue Commander, who is now forced to fight between two navies, which is never where you want to be. But I will say, if it's to anyone's advantage, it's going to be Armada here, who can fire excellently broadside, does not have the advantage in a retreat. Buccaneers and a destroyer. Buccaneers and 2 destroyer actually moving in. Oh, nice torpedo bombing, though. Yep, super awkward there. That's a rough moment for the Red Commander. Was hoping to win with this push and actually get shut down hard by the air power. Those torpedo bombers are tough to beat. And just like that, the push is once again well held. Love to see that we're reclaiming here, though. Making the best of a losing engagement is always nice. The fact that we don't see any res subs here. I mean, yeah, there we go. Okay, we have some Voyagers coming up. That's the next best thing, of course. They're not that much more expensive than res subs. They just can be targeted by above-the-water facing vessels. Same story over here, though. So much res, so much reclaim, all available right here. If we eat this up and turn it into T2 ships of any kind, if we put all this metal back on the field as, like, battleships, for instance, you're going to be in a wonderful way. The dreadnoughts are so powerful when they're firing all their guns. It is a little bit difficult to get them into the correct position and firing all at the same time. And all at the same target. But when they do, it's pretty much unstoppable. So this Buccaneer's going down super quickly here. Res subs, again, trying their best. Where are these Voyagers at? Yeah, they're headed out. Typically what I like to do is right-click and drag to spread them out, so I send them to different spots and start reclaiming that way. That way they're not all wasting a bunch of time trying to, like, go around and reclaim the same thing. It eats up immediately and they have to retreat or run over to the next thing. That sort of an idea. A bit of a... Yeah, okay. Res subs being shooed back here by the torpedo launchers. Nicely done. There's enough metal on the field here that we could see a capital ship produced. How far along are we on this one? 66% of the way there. You need so much metal to go for one of these capital ships. It really is a huge investment. Buccaneers falling over here, not equipped to properly handle a quadruple despot sort of a composition. For every one laser beam on the humble Buccaneer, there are 3, 6, 9, 12 lasers in total in this pink composition. Brown Commander's still on a T1 mechs here, by the way. Can't underestimate, or can't understate, rather, how unfortunate it is not to have been getting 40 metal per second from this metal extractor. How do you do it? Do you set up a T1 lab on the air and then you go for T2? That's super messy. Do you go for air power? I mean, kinda. You got an air player, but it's just T1. You'd have to still go for T2 air. There's no geo here. There's a lot of tiny things to clean up, right? We're still on T1 mechs back here, too. That's so brutal. Blue team has just been playing a little bit more cleanly, except for this southern side, which we've seen time and time again has been like won and then thrown away because the res subs don't eat it all up. Same story happened here just again, as now the Red Commander has the res subs underneath to repair everything up. A whole bunch of fighters flying forward. Not sure what we're sending these in for. We build a nuke or something? No nuke here. Very, very odd. Oh, LRPC firing into the distance. Hey, that's quite nice. Okay, we do eventually see some basilisks coming up and running. Those LRPC are so nice for dealing with naval boats. Because Navy is such a wide platform for all of their units. Every unit is gigantic. Ooh, torpedo bombers trying to take out that lab. Yeah, they see the capital ship and want to snipe it. Because all of these units are so gigantic, it makes a huge, easy target for these LRPCs to fire away at. So obviously you're going to go for that if you need a way to reach out and hit hard. Also, unless you're playing with the extra units, which we are not, there's no way to shield yourself in Navy. In the extra units, there is a floating bubble shield, which I think should probably just be in the base game at this point. But I have a lot of crazy thoughts about this game. If you'd like to hear more of them, though, you'll have to tune into the streams. Saturdays, 12 to 4 PDT. Casual advertisement here and there, of course. I gotta give tremendous props here, though, to the Red Commander for holding on this long. I mean, this has been a Navy that could have been wiped out 3 or 4 times and has just endured against all odds, beyond all reason. Well, B, the red capital ship fit through the red hole. Very awkward to move these boats around, but at the very least, it will be sailing its way towards the high seas on the front lines. Bombers up in the air as well to drop their, actually just regular light impulse payload. We're kind of just looking for a way to spend our bombers, it seems like, which is not ideal. LRPC firing away here, but there's enough build power to repair this lab. We need to start targeting down the build power itself. Or, of course, these E-converters is another very prime target. And again, I mean, I love the LRPCs here, but if we're not going to use them to target the very, very specific things that they're good at firing at, hey, there we go. Just like that, they're not going to be worth it. Boost my con. Trying to get these mexes up and running on the front is well worth it. 7.9 metal extraction from that one. We've got tons more over here as well. Getting some of these long-range torpedo launchers can be really nice, too. Capital ship rolling out here for both the blue and red commanders. Look at that. Twin capital ships meeting on the front line here. The Hydra versus the Epoch. The Hydra with a lot of long-range firepower. Little bit less powerful in close quarters. The Epoch perfectly suited for brawling on the front lines. Firing with all of its guns. Makes it a menace on the seas. Of course, not all the guns can fire at the same time. It does have to be careful about its spacing. You have to be so careful about the spacing with the Epoch, actually. Ideally, you want it facing forward, too. That's kind of how you get all of the value out of all of the guns. Oh, look at those LRPCs. I love the LRPCs, man. They don't fire often, but when they do, they can chunk away at so much of the HP for any of these boats. It makes it instantly valuable. Gargantuan wreckage fields all over the place here. I do love the Epoch. It reminds me of a Star Destroyer, and I love it for that. Armada, typically big fans of laser weaponry, kind of went all out on the Gauss cannonry. Just said, more big gun. And I've got to have a respect for that. That is a commitment to design. We have all but secured the victory here against the Red Commander once more. We've wiped out basically the entire Navy except for the capital ship here. And we're going to start working away at it with the LRPCs. Oh, nicely done. Look at that. 20% off of the HP bar there for that Despot. And we're down 10% already on the capital ship just from those LRPCs firing. So valuable. And of course, again, it's such a huge target, it's impossible to miss. Oh, nice work with the submarines too, chipping away at that. Yeah, hey, that's a wonderful play right there. We've noticed that the enemy isn't actually going for a huge investment in anti-sub weaponry. Sends in the submarines right now. Oh, torpedo bombers coming in here as well. Beautiful torpedo bombing from the Green Commander. Paying attention to what units are and aren't available on the field right now. Notices no anti-air and sends in the bombers. For round 2, we need a little bit better micro on those, though. Dropping their payload on the dirt is unfortunate, but hey, beautiful connection right there, wiping out a huge chunk of the Red Navy, and once more, a giant battlefield littered with corpses, but this time, it does seem like the blue team is committed to absorbing those resources, rather than letting them slip like mom's spaghetti, I suppose. Well, the capital ship is low. Down to just 6% HP right here. Can the LRPCs get this snipe? Nope, they're going to fire away to the, brown base. Huh, okay. Love the LRPCs here. I mean, just so much value. Combined total of 65 kills is actually pretty impressive. Ooh, capital ship down to just 3%, 2%, 1%, and boom goes the Black Hydra. And that is all she wrote, folks, because now the T2 Navy is encroaching on the red base, and that is ultimately the goal of your capital ship. Get it within range of the enemy's production center, and you've got yourself a checkmate GG withdrawal type of scenario, or resign kind of scenario. Capital ship might be going down here, though, because we aren't turning around to defend against this Navy, and those are dreadnoughts firing away here, so those will melt down pretty quick. Submarines coming out as well, but the Paladins do have their depth charges, so they're trying their best to clean all this up. Capital ship doing the weirdest kind of firing micro I've ever seen. Yeah, blue capital ship falls. It's actually going to land on top of a bunch of these reactors. That's awkward. There we go. Reactors do fall, though. Capital ship goes down, but at the cost of the red base. Does, of course, mean that that was certainly well worth it. Proper micro, and you can technically shoot these submarines with the capital ship, too. The AoE explosion has been nerfed against submarines, but it does still technically work if you have the APM and wherewithal to fire away with those. That's not to say there isn't a way back into this game, though. I mean, we have the T1 lab up and running. We just need to attach a little bit of build power over here. Wouldn't mind seeing a Pathfinder sent over for that. As long as we can reclaim and maybe even resurrect a whole bunch of this is still a sizable Navy. It feels like this is the opportunity the air player has been waiting for to go in and try and get some value. Look at that, by the way. We have a single hero submarine sneaking its way into the back. The Predator, fast assault submarine. providing a bunch of vision here for the LRPCs to fire away. Hey, look at that. LRPCs can actually chip the reactors with a little bit of splash damage, too. LRPCs are so good at dealing with those capital ships. I love that use of this space up here. I mean, it really is a great idea to go for these LRPCs, because they can reach out so far and do so much damage, find so much value here. 10 metal per second down the drain, 40 metal per second really down the drain. T2 eco-scaling, yeah, kind of happening. No aphises though. Oh, we do have one aphis here from Big Papa. 59. Can these hit that aphis over there? Oh, just barely they cannot. That's a close one. Any aphis scaling back here? Yeah, you know it. Green Commander going for, wow, aphis scaling on the Agio is bold. I would certainly convert that to a Cerberus after this aphis was done, or probably beforehand, really. Loads of torpedo bombers up and running here. I actually wouldn't mind seeing the inclusion of just a couple of these regular bombers as well, the Hailstorms. They can be really useful for dealing with specific, precise targets that the torpedo bombers might struggle against. Paladin's pushing in here, though. Doing a wonderful job of cleaning up a whole bunch of these submarines underneath the waves. They're gonna die, but they will trade out efficiently here. We got the hero sub under the water for the Orange Commander, providing all the vision that the destroyers need, the battleships. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is it's tough to deal with because you need some sort of anti-submarine weapon, and we just don't have it. Yellow team jumped here by the torpedo bombers, though, in mass by green, takes down the capital ship on the northern side. And once more, the submarines have reigned, or rather their reign of terror has been swept away here by air superiority. Yep. The bombers fly overhead, and it breaks the morale here of the blue, or of the red team. Our green and blue heroes managed to take the victory in this game. A brutal back and forth here, especially on this southern side. A wonderful little game of cat and mouse, and some beautiful plays right there from our blue commander. Grasped victory and then threw it away, and then grasped it and threw it away again. Really couldn't tell what was going on, but eventually it's our blue heroes that do take the win. Thanks a ton for watching, folks. If you enjoyed, of course, feel free to join the Brightworks community. There's always links and whatnot down below. And I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. And I will see you again in the very next match of Beyond All Reason.